I remember being 14 years old in a hospital room, blowing out birthday candles, while nurses warned me I shouldn't. Something about oxygen tanks and safety protocols, but it was my birthday and I needed to celebrate with my mom. What they didn't understand, and what maybe I didn't even fully understand at the time, was that it would be my last birthday with her. 3 days later, on January 25th, 2008, she died. My mom had been battling leiomyosarcoma, a rare form of cancer, for about 3 years. And even though I knew she was sick, I don't think I ever really believed she would die. She was my world and I was hers. I was a mama's girl through and through. After she passed, it was just me, my dad, and my older brother. My dad, who had already lost his first wife to a brain aneurysm, my mom was his second, and my brother, who suffered brain damage from undiagnosed encephalitis when he was young. Suddenly, I was a teenage girl in a world that felt completely unfamiliar. The comfort, the safety, the love I had always known from my mom was gone. It was as if I had been dropped into an entirely different reality, one where the colors were dimmer and nothing felt the same. But I made it. I got through high school, I made it through university, I got a job, my first big girl job in insurance. I had my own car, and I remember driving around and thinking, okay, maybe I can breathe again. Maybe all the bad that happened in mine and my family's life had already happened, and God will give me some kind of pass for the rest. For the first time in a decade, I felt peace, like I climbed a mountain I never asked to be on, and I was finally standing at the top, just trying to catch my breath. But then, just when I thought I could breathe, life changed again. It was Canada Day weekend, and I had just come back from a cottage, and I was getting changed when I felt something on the side of my chest, near my armpit. A lump about the size of a marble. I didn't panic, but something didn't feel right. I called my stepmom, who's a breast cancer survivor herself, and I told her something felt off. I got into the doctor's office as soon as I could. I explained where the lump was and how it was hard to feel depending on how I was lying down. But he couldn't feel it. He told me to monitor it and come back if anything had changed. 2 weeks later, I was back in his office. The lump had already grown. I don't remember all the details perfectly from that point. Honestly, I think my mind blacked a lot of it out. Trauma has a way of doing that. It protects you from the sharpest edges. But what I do remember is going back to that doctor's office multiple times, hoping that someone would take me seriously. I even got a new doctor, hoping that maybe that would make a difference. Ultimately, it wasn't until that marble-sized lump grew about 300 times the size within months that anyone took me seriously. That day, everything changed. I was rushed for another ultrasound, and this time, they paid attention. Almost immediately, I was sent to the breast cancer clinic in Ottawa for a mammogram and breast biopsy. I remember sitting in that room with a young radiologist. You could tell he was brand new. He looked hesitant, like he didn't want to say what he was thinking out loud. So I looked at him in the eyes and I said, "It's cancer, isn't it?" He paused and said yes. He didn't say much more. He looked as stunned as I felt. I think he was still trying to figure out how to carry the weight of those words, how to tell a 24-year-old that her life was about to change forever. A few moments later, I met with the oncology surgeon, who walked me through what was coming next: a double mastectomy, chemotherapy, and radiation. At the time, I was living alone in Ottawa. I had just started a new job. I was doing what 24-year-olds are supposed to do, building a life, building a future, and then in an instant, everything I knew was stripped away. My family was living in Toronto, the Toronto area at the time, so I moved back home. I had no idea that coming home would mean a new beginning. Home would mean beginning a new kind of battle, not just for my body, but for my mind, my identity, and my future. In October of 2018, I started chemotherapy. The cancer that started off the size of a marble was now the size of a grapefruit, a big grapefruit. It had spread to a ton of lymph nodes within my armpit and up to my supraclavicular node. I was considered stage 3C. I did 8 rounds of chemotherapy, most of which were double-dose dense. It was brutal, but I got through it. And then came the double mastectomy, then 33 rounds of radiation, where I got to wear a mask that was screwed down to the table. If you're claustrophobic, it was bad. So they could target the node in my collarbone. And just when I thought I might be finished, I was prescribed 6 months of oral chemotherapy because the cancer was that extensive. And now I'm in menopause. Well, technically, I'm postmenopausal, but let's be honest, it feels the same when you're sweating through the sheets at 2 a.m. You know. I take hormone-blocking medication every single day and a monthly shot. I'm living in a body that's been through war, a body that's aged far beyond its years, a body that's still trying to heal. What no one really tells you is that when the hard part is over, chemo and radiation are done, they don't walk you out with balloons or a support plan. There's no real sense of closure. It's like you graduate from a school you never wanted to attend, and they say, "Congratulations, now go figure the rest out." And you're standing there thinking, wait, that's it? What happens now? You're left with more questions than answers. Is it coming back? Am I okay? What am I supposed to feel? No one tells you. They put you on a medication that's supposed to keep the cancer away, but they don't prepare you for what that medication does to your body, your mind, and your life. For me, that medication threw me straight into menopause, and I'm not talking about a gradual transition. I'm talking about being thrown off a cliff instantly, violently into medically induced menopause without any of the tools or time your body needs to adapt. It's pretty brutal on every level. There's hot flashes, bone pain, mood swings, fatigue, weight gain, brain fog, sleepless nights, and a whole other list of symptoms I won't even say out loud on this stage, but if you know, you know. And the hardest part, they just don't tell you it's coming. You're expected to survive the treatment and survive the life that comes after. So yes, I survived cancer, and I'm so grateful for it. But survivorship, that's a whole other kind of battle. And in many ways, it can be harder than the first one. So here I am, standing in front of you, but changed. I'm not the same girl who lit birthday candles in a hospital room at 14. I'm not the same 24-year-old who found a lump and hoped someone would just listen. And I'm definitely not the same person who walked into chemo thinking the hardest part would be the treatment. I've learned that survival isn't just about staying alive. It's about choosing to live in the aftermath of something that tried to destroy you. It's about carrying grief and pain and fatigue and fear and still showing up for your life. There were and are still so many days when I didn't know how I'd keep going, but I did and I do. And the truth is, I'm still very much in my journey. I'm still figuring things out every day. Healing doesn't come with a ribbon or a deadline. And along this healing journey, one of the greatest gifts cancer gave me, beautifully, is a deeper connection to a higher power. Without that connection, I honestly don't know how I would have made it through the darkest days. That spiritual bond has become the quiet strength I lean on. It grounds me and reminds me I'm not alone. And for that, I'm so deeply grateful. And honestly, with the help of a few soul-restoring trips to Greece and the Caribbean, I found reasons to stay, reasons to live, and reasons to believe that this life is worth it. And through it all, I feel like I've been given a new set of eyes, more than once. When my mom died, the world changed. I saw it through a new lens, one that was heavier, sadder, and unfamiliar. When I was diagnosed with cancer, it happened again. Another set of eyes, another way of seeing. And while these eyes have seen more pain than I ever expected, so dull and tired from all they have witnessed, they've also shown me beauty. The birds, the flowers, the ocean, the sky, the connection with people, it's all beautiful. I didn't choose cancer, and I didn't choose loss, but I do get to choose who I am now. And I choose to believe in life. I choose to keep going despite it all. Thank you.